As we grow up, we learn things that will need to keep us safe. Like a baby animal learns to hunt safely and sleep safely from its parents, we learn the same things. Sometimes these lessons are really simple. If you go up high, there's a risk of falling off. A dog that's barking at you could hurt you. Sometimes the lessons are more complicated. When I get hurt, my mother gives me a lollipop, which means that she must love me. Having sweets means I'm loved. Or I didn't do very well in my exams. My dad's really disappointed in me. He mustn't love me because I keep letting him down. So the lessons are not always good lessons, but at least they're lessons and their structure. And so when we go through our day-to-day life, we access these lessons and we use them to know what is and isn't safe, or at least our subconscious uses them anyway. The problem with trauma is that this interrupts that process. Now, in this context, trauma is defined as anything that is so hard to process that you can't. It's like a tipping point, that you just can't process what's happening, either at an emotional or physical level. It's often actually not what other people might refer to as trauma when you describe events to them. It's the point that you uniquely find hard to deal with. And what happens when you experience trauma is that you end up with a barrier, some sort of block, or the shutters come down that stop you having access to these rules and these structure that you learnt when you were growing up, which means you don't know what is and isn't safe. And because you don't know, then what you have to do is from moment to moment try and weigh up everything without any guidelines, any structure, any rules to help it become clearer. And so things that used to be okay stop being okay, or things that everybody else might find easy to deal with suddenly become hugely panic-inducing events. So the trick with trauma is to remove the block, is to change the way it's stored in the brain, to physically change the working of the brain so that you remove the block and you get access again to all the rules and all the structure that you need. And through that, you can go back to being able to deal with day-to-day life events without having to be on a state of high alert.